So, let's deconstruct the modern music business. But we're not going to talk about art or creativity or inspiration. Not today. Today, we're going to treat it like a system, a data-driven, tech-enabled enterprise that you can actually design and build piece by piece. So for the next few minutes, I want you to forget the romantic idea of the struggling artist. We are opening up the blueprint to the modern creative CEO. This right here, this is the single most important mindset shift, and it changes everything. For decades, the album was the thing you made and sold. But in today's economy, where attention is the real currency, your song is more like a free sample. It's the killer ad you run on TikTok or Spotify to grab a potential customer. It's the hook that gets them into your world, which is where the real, sustainable business actually begins. Okay, so if the music is just the hook at the top, what comes next? Right? How do you actually build the infrastructure that can reliably turn some anonymous listener on a huge global platform into a high-value, long-term supporter of your universe? Well, that's exactly what this explainer is for. We're going to give you the complete schematic for that machine, layer by layer. We're going to break it all down into 4 core parts. First up, the attention engine, basically how you get discovered in a world of infinite noise. Second, we'll cover your tech stack, the essential software that runs this whole operation. Third, the zero-risk supply chain, which is how you create and sell physical stuff with zero upfront cost. And finally, the real revenue architecture, the financial model that makes this a real sustainable career. Okay, let's dive right in. Getting traction on platforms like Spotify isn't magic. It's not luck, and it's definitely not about getting chosen. It's about engineering. Your release campaign has to generate very specific data signals that meet certain technical thresholds. That's what convinces the algorithm that your song is worth showing to new people. This is the engine room, and if it's not running, the whole enterprise just stalls out. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because we can see the numbers behind the curtain. These are the data gates your song has to pass through, and they do very different things. Think of Release Radar as like a high-stakes audition for your brand new music. It's testing for that early buzz. Discover Weekly, on the other hand, that's the trusted, long-term recommendation engine for your back catalog. And Spotify protects the Discover Weekly experience like crazy, which is why it requires so much more volume and a proven popularity score before it will ever put your track there. Let's just zoom in on this number, because this is the key that unlocks the whole sequence. To get, say, 375 saves from 1,000 listeners, your save rate has to be 37.5%. That is an incredibly high bar. See, a save tells the algorithm something really important, way more than just a listen. It says, I want to hear this again. You will never get this kind of ratio from passive listeners on some random playlist. This only happens with high-intent campaigns, where you are driving targeted traffic that is primed and ready to not just listen, but to actually save your track. So, you see, this isn't about buying a lottery ticket. It's a repeatable process you can actually architect. For the first few weeks, you use paid ads to manufacture the exact high-intent data you need to hit that 37.5% save ratio and kick off Release Radar. Then, you leverage that free algorithmic boost from Release Radar to help push you toward the bigger volume number you need for Discover Weekly. And once you hit that, your track basically graduates. It's proven its quality, and now it can live on in algorithmic playlists for months, maybe even years, finding new fans for you while you sleep. Now, Spotify knows you want to trigger these algorithms, and conveniently, they've built some tools to sell you that access. Think of Marquee as a surgical strike for new releases. It's a pop-up ad you pay for upfront to guarantee you reach your existing fans. Discovery Mode is different. It's for your older songs. It's like casting a much wider net to find new listeners. You don't pay anything upfront to turn it on, but don't be fooled. It is absolutely not free. So here's the crucial part. With Discovery Mode, you pay for placement by agreeing to a 30% reduction in your royalty rate for any streams that come from those algorithmic plays. Now, this model has been torn apart by critics, with some calling it institutionalized payola. It creates this systemic pressure, a real race to the bottom, where artists feel like they're forced to devalue their own music, giving up a huge chunk of their income just to stay visible on a platform that they helped build in the first place. Okay, let's move to the control panel. Once you've grabbed someone's attention, you need the right software to manage that relationship directly. This is the tech stack that lets you stop being just a passenger on someone else's platform and start being the pilot of your own business. It gives you control over your audience, your data, and your own destiny. You know, the single most important goal of all your marketing is moving a fan from rented land to owned land. A follower on Spotify or TikTok is not your customer. The platform owns that relationship. And if their algorithm changes or, your account gets suspended, you could lose everything overnight. This entire funnel is designed to do just one thing: get an email address or a phone number. Only then do you truly own the relationship and can talk to your fans without some algorithm sitting in the middle. Your distributor is a core piece of your tech stack. But wow, the devil is in the details. A service like DistroKid will advertise a really tempting low annual fee, but the real cost is in all the add-ons. And what's most critical is what's not offered: publishing administration. That means they don't collect your mechanical royalties from streams and sales, which is a separate and pretty significant income stream that, for a lot of unknowing artists, is just being left on the table. Okay, let's talk about a critical piece of ad tech. In a world with all these privacy updates and ad blockers, tracking how your ads are doing through a web browser is just a mess. A conversion API, or CAPI, solves this. Think of it like a direct, secure courier that goes straight from your server to the ad platform server. It guarantees that every important action, like a pre-save or a sale, gets reported back with near-perfect accuracy. And this right here is why having CAPI support on your SmartLink service is absolutely 100% non-negotiable. If you run paid ads without it, the ad platform gets incomplete data. It starts to think your campaign is failing even when it's working, so what does it do? It shuts it down. And even worse, it can hurt your ad account's quality score, which makes all of your future ads more expensive. This is just a mandatory cost of doing business for any serious artist. All right, we have the fans and we've got the tech. Now let's build out the physical product side of the business. The old model of, buying 500 t-shirts, guessing all the sizes, and just praying they sell, that is dead. Modern fulfillment models not only get rid of all that inventory risk, but they also unlock incredible creative freedom. You can launch and test dozens of designs with absolutely zero financial exposure. And this slide just brilliantly illustrates the central choice you have to make in print on demand. It really comes down to a choice between margin and brand. So Printify is a network that gives you lower prices, which means higher profit margins for you. Printful, they own their own factories, so you get super consistent quality and way better branding options, like custom neck labels and little pack-in slips that create a really premium unboxing experience. There's no right answer here, just a strategic one. Are you trying to maximize profit per sale, or are you trying to build a high-end brand experience? This same zero-risk revolution has completely turned physical media upside down. For decades, pressing vinyl meant spending thousands of dollars up front for a garage full of boxes. It created this immense financial risk that just locked out most independent artists. Well, new on-demand services completely get rid of that. They've democratized access to this premium format, which allows any artist in any niche to sell vinyl one at a time with zero upfront cost. It's a total game changer. The two leaders in this space have two totally different philosophies. Kunaki is a fulfillment service where you are the customer. You have to buy a record from them at a high cost, maybe $60. Then you got to try and resell it for a profit. Elastic Stage, on the other hand, is a revenue share partner where you are the partner. They handle the sale and they pay you a royalty. It's zero cost for the artist, and from what people are saying, their proprietary material is a much higher quality product than the lathe-cut vinyl used by other services. Okay, finally, let's connect all these pieces and look at the balance sheet. How do you know if this whole enterprise, the attention engine, the tech stack, the supply chain, is actually profitable and sustainable? Well, it all boils down to one essential metric. Forget streams, forget followers. Seriously, those are vanity metrics. They don't directly correlate to paying your bills. The North Star metric for any modern creator business is the LTV to CAC ratio. That's lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. It's a pure profitability metric that forces you to shift your focus from short-term sales to long-term sustainable fan relationships. See, the old way of thinking was all about return on ad spend, or ROAS, which only looks at the very first sale. In that model, spending $20 on ads to sell a $35 t-shirt looks like a failure after you account for the cost of the shirt itself. But with the LTV to CAC model, if that same fan you acquired for $20 goes on to spend $300 with you over 3 years, buying that t-shirt, 2 vinyl records, a digital course, and subscribing to your Patreon, that initial $20 investment was an absolute bargain. And this is the target. This is the goal. A healthy, scalable creative business should be aiming for a 3-to-1 LTV to CAC ratio. That just means for every dollar you spend on marketing to get a fan, you generate at least $3 in profit from that fan over their lifetime. A 1-to-1 ratio means you're losing money. 3-to-1 is healthy growth. And hey, if you're at 5-to-1 or higher, that's a signal to invest more heavily in acquiring new fans. It's the core financial KPI of your entire enterprise. And this is how you get to that ratio. You build an integrated stack of scalable revenue streams. This is not about having 100 different side hustles. It's about an ecosystem where automated merch, on-demand vinyl, digital products, and subscriptions all work together. Each new offer is just another tool to increase the lifetime value of every single fan in your database, the database that you own. So the final question is this. Are you just making songs and, hoping they get discovered? Or are you strategically using your music as the front door to a carefully architected, data-driven, and sustainable creative enterprise? The blueprint is right here. The tools have never been more accessible. The choice is yours.